The Wise Old Bird and the Foolish Birds. Once upon a time, in a deep, beautiful forest, there stood a giant tree with thick branches and lush green leaves. It was home to hundreds of birds, parrots, sparrows, mynas, and pigeons, all living happily together. They chirped joyfully, built their nests, and raised their young ones in the safety of the strong tree. Among them lived a wise old parrot who had spent many years on this tree. He had seen the changes in the forest and knew the dangers that could come. All the birds respected him, but some young ones thought he worried too much. One day, while flying around the tree, the wise parrot noticed something unusual: small holes at the base of the tree. He landed and examined them closely. The bark was chipped, and the holes looked like they had been made by sharp tools. His heart filled with worry. This could be the work of woodcutters. They might come back to cut down our home, he thought. That evening, he gathered all the birds and said, "My dear friends, I have seen strange holes at the base of our tree. I fear that woodcutters have marked it. We must leave this place and find a new home before it is too late." Some of the birds, especially the younger ones, laughed at the old parrot's words. "Oh, you always worry too much," chirped a sparrow. "No one will cut down such a big tree," added a myna. "We have lived here for so long, and nothing bad has happened. Why should we leave our comfortable home?" said a pigeon. The wise parrot sighed. "It is always better to be safe than sorry. If we wait too long, we may lose everything." But the birds ignored his warning. The old parrot, knowing he had done his best to warn them, decided to leave. He flew away and found another tree to live in, while the others stayed behind. A few days passed, and everything seemed normal. The foolish birds continued their carefree lives. But one morning, they woke up to the loud sound of chopping. Chop! 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 The birds panicked. They looked down and saw woodcutters with big axes chopping the tree. The young birds screamed, "The old parrot was right. The tree is being cut down." They tried to fly away, but it was too late. The woodcutters had set up nets around the tree. Many birds got trapped, unable to escape. Only a few managed to fly away, frightened and regretful. The wise parrot's sadness. From his new tree, the wise old parrot saw what had happened. His heart ached for his friends, but he knew there was nothing he could do now. He shook his head and said, "Foolishness and ignorance always lead to disaster. If only they had listened to my warning." The birds who escaped finally understood their mistake. They found the wise parrot and begged for forgiveness. He forgave them and welcomed them to his new home, but they had learned a harsh lesson: never ignore good advice. Moral of the story: always listen to wise advice. Thinking ahead can save you from trouble.